Hello students, today we will discuss about the structure of skin. Before we study about today's topic, we have a quick recap of our previous topic. In our previous topic, we discussed about the structure of bone. We discussed that bone is composed of two types of tissue. The first type of tissue is the compact bone tissue. The compact bone tissue is the tissue which covers or make the outer hard part of the bone. The compact tissue is having two layers, the outer layer and the inner layer. And these two layers it form the whole hard surface of the bone. And the another part is the spongy bone tissue. The spongy bone tissue is the porous, firm, softer part of the bone which is inside the compact bone tissue. The compact bone tissue are having two lamella. The first is inner circumferential lamella and the second is the outer interferentially lamella. The bone tissue is also having canals and the compact bone is having two canals. The first is longitudinal canal and the horizontal canal. These all things we discussed in our previous class. Let's discuss about our today's topic. Today's topic is the skin, and the objective of our today's class is to learn about and study about the structure of skin. Let's discuss about the introduction of skin. The skin is also known as integument, as it is an organ of integumentary system of our body. The skin is the largest organ of our body as it covers whole body with the total area of 20 square feet. The skin protects us from the microbes and the elements, and it helps to regulate our body temperature. Skin also permits the sensation of touch, heat, and cold. Let's have a look on the layer of skin or the structure of skin. Typically, a skin has three layers. The first is epidermis, the second is dermis, and the deeper is the subcutaneous tissue. The epidermis is the outermost layer of skin. It provides a waterproof barrier and creates our skin tone. This superficial line or the superficial layer is called as the epidermis. Then there is dermis. Dermis is the beneath the epidermis and it contains tough connective tissue, hair follicles and the sweat glands. In this figure, you can see that this bigger surface or the thick layer is called as the dermis, and in this dermis there is the hair follicle and the sweat gland present. Next is the deeper subcutaneous tissue or called as the hypodermis as it is under the dermis. It is made up of fat and connective tissue. Truly or oftenly it is not considered as the layer of skin as it is connected to the dermis of the skin. But in somewhere, some places, in some books, you find that it is also as the skin layer. The skin's color is created by special cells called melanocytes which produce the pigment called melanin. Melanocytes are located in the epidermis. That's why the epidermis is responsible to create our skin tone because melanocytes are present in epidermis. This is the layer here at the superficial layer or the supermost layer. It is called as the epidermis. Let's discuss about this structure. The skin is having the superficial layer called as epidermis. It is having 4 to 5 layers. Here we see in this picture that skin is having 4 to 5 layers. The layer of the superficial layer of the epidermis depends on the type of skin, whether we are having thick skin of palm or sole or the thin skin of whole body. Thick skin is having 5 layers and the thin skin is having only 4 layers, and it covers whole uh, cover the most of the body. The first layer of the epidermis is called as the stratum basal layer. This is made up of single layer cell which is attached to the basement membrane, and there are 3 types of cell present in the stratum basal layer. The first layer is keratinocytes, which is most common type, and there the cell division is to replace the cells shaded from the surface. They produce structural protein called as the keratin, which is strengthen the skin and makes the skin waterproof. Next is melanocytes. Melanocytes scatter among the keratinocytes. They produce pigment called melanin and react with sun ultraviolet light. They surround the nucleus to protect the DNA from the mutation in IV radiation. Or third is the tactile cells. Tactile cells also scatter among the keratinocytes and they serve as the light touch receptor. The second layer of epidermis is called as the stratum spinosum. These are made up of daughter keratinocyte cells. They are made up from dividing cell in the stratum basal layer and below the epidermic dendritic cell. The daughter keratinocyte cells connects the neighboring cells by the destrosomes, and the dendritic cells are the immune cells. They help in fighting these skin infections. The third layer is the stratum granulosum. It is comprised of 3 to 5 layers of keratinocytes. The process of keratinization is being in this layer of epidermis, means the keratinocyte cells are being produced or constructed in this layer of the skin. The keratinocytes fill with the keratin protein, and this process of keratinization continues as cells moves upward in the epidermis. It eliminates the nucleus and organelle as moved upward and the cell die. Stratum lucidum. This is the fourth layer of the epidermis. This layer is only found in thick skin of the palm and sole. Their closely packed keratinocytes are clear, flat, with no nucleus and organelle in it. They are filled with a protein called ellatin. Ellatin eventually transforms into keratin. The fifth layer of epidermis is comprised of dead keratinized cells. It takes about 2 weeks for the new keratinocyte cells to reach at the stratum corneum, and they remains in top for 2 weeks before it shed. This is all about the epidermis. Let's move to the next layer. The another layer of skin is called as the dermis. Dermis comprised of connective tissue proper with collagen. It also houses some other structure like blood vessels, hair follicles, sweat gland, sebaceous gland, sensory nerve ending, and erector pili. Dermis has 2 layers. First layer is papillary layer and second is the reticular layer. Let's discuss about one by one. Papillary layer. This is the superficial layer to dermis. It composed of loose connective tissue and form projection called dermal papillae that fit with the epidermal ridges of the epidermis that increase the surface area between these 2 layers. Dermal papillae contain blood vessels that supply nutrients to the cell of the epidermis. They also contain sensory nerve ending that monitor touch on the surface of skin. Next is the reticular layer. Reticular layer composed of dense connective tissue and many bundles of collagen fibers. It extends to deep cutaneous layer. The third layer is called as the deep cutaneous layer. The deep cutaneous layer, sometimes not considered as a part of skin, it is located below or deep to the dermal layer of skin. It is oftenly referred as the hypodermis. It consists of loose connective tissue and adipose connective tissue or fat tissue, subcutaneous fat. It helps bind the skin to underlying structure and it acts as a cushion and protects the body. It provides insulation to the skin or the body structure and it provides for energy storage. This is the third and the deepest layer of the skin. These are the references from where I gather these information for you all people. You can take help from these all references. Thank you. Have a good day.